And so you get Chris Farley to come out on Saturday Night Live and be like, I understand you need to be socially distant. It's a hard time for everyone, okay? I can't see my mother. I can't even see my kids on Easter. But
oh my God.
Don't go to the cottage on Thanksgiving. Don't go to the cottage for any reason. Hiking up his pants and shit, falls to a table. Anyway,
Crying.
That's my concept for a Chris Farley, Doug Ford impression.
Welcome back. This is season 3 of Shooting the Breeze. And today my guest is DrSteveLove. Steve is a comedian and actor based out of Ottawa. So
you forgot that I'm also a warehouse stockkeeper. You forgot that important aspect.
Sorry,
of my
warehouse stockkeeper, DrSteveLove, everyone.
It's a pandemic.
Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Simone. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad we were finally able to coordinate to have you on the show.
Yeah, I know. I bailed about 15 times because I'm just such a piece of shit. Speaking of which, it's like I said, I work in a warehouse. Monday to Friday from 4:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's my life right now. And on my days off, I drink. So I'm doing the Rust Cole thing. On my days off, I drink. So here's nothing snooty. This is a soul from.
That's from Mexico? Is that a Mexican beer?
Because
it seems like a resort beer or something.
So it's a Mexican beer, but it's brewed by Molson Coors Canada in Toronto, Ontario.
Ah. Okay.
So what a lot of people don't realize about imported beers is that they're not really imported. It's actually cheaper for those. It's actually cheaper for the big companies to just send, they're the ones that are distributed universally. They just send their list of ingredients to all the different breweries worldwide and then just brew them in the countries where they're distributed.
Yeah, they're like, you do it. Exactly.
I never knew this until I went to Scotland. We did a brewery tour and this dude who looked like a Scottish Seth Rogen, right? So, and it was the Scottish, basically the Scottish Budweiser called Tennent's. Have you heard of that?
No,
I've
never heard of it.
I'm sure all the alcoholics listening have heard of it. And so they were doing this brewery tour and they were like, we're seeing all these Stella Artois cans. And we're like, why are you guys are allowed to do that here? And it's like, well, what they do is they just send the ingredients to us and then we brew it here because it's cheaper. And then we distribute Stella and sell it like a premium import. And the guy, what was the guy's like? Okay, the guy was like, so if you drink Stella Artois in Scotland, really it's about as Belgian as I am. And I just thought I always remembered that one because it sounded cute. The way Scottish people have the cutest accent.
I love it.
They're the most charming people because they're the most something about the British Isles and that sort of vibe is they're so self-deprecating in a way that's just charming and you're just yeah, you people suck. You used to own the world and now you're just a bunch of people in the world. you guys used to own the world and now you're just a bunch of pale losers smoking cigarettes and eating sausages. Fuck you.
I like the accent because it always sounds like they've got marbles or water. They're trying to talk with water in their mouth. I just love
it's
it.
Always there's always a lot going on in the side of the mouth.
Exactly. And I love it. I love it so much.
There's so many variations too. He's I think I remember I was really young. I watched a Fresh Prince episode where you watched Fresh Prince?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
So there was an episode where Jeffrey met this British girl that Will was dating. Will was dating a British girl. And
I think it was Naomi
Jeffrey
Campbell.
just sat her down and he's like, I can tell from your accent that you're from like South Surrey Street in London and an apartment building, a 3rd-story walk up. Like that's how specific their accent game is.
Yes. As I had a friend when I was growing up, her parents were Scottish, and I could never understand. Whenever her father
Oh,
spoke, unless he spoke super slowly, it was like he's speaking a totally different language. I never understood what he was
mhm.
saying to me.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's hardly the same language, and it's it's the same for it's the same for like newfies or anybody
Yeah.
like anybody with these you don't think of your language in terms of having regional dialects, but there's a shitload of regional dialects.
Oh yeah, right here in
It's
Canada
it's
for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
like
yeah.
you go from one end of Ottawa to the other. You go from like the glebe to Stittsville, and then you start going from like, so we're doing a non for profit organic elephant farm to going to Stittsville, and it's like, oh fuck, they just went down and they went down and they sold the dump and they made a truckload of money off of it. But anyway,
Because I know even
what's been
with Montreal, it was the same thing. And like my accent, like I grew up with a Montreal accent, and my accent over the last 20 years has morphed into something different. Because I know when I first moved to Ontario and I was in Toronto, they knew I was Canadian, but they didn't know from where. Because they're like, we
really?
know, but we can't tell from where. And then being in Toronto for so long, it morphed into something else. And for some reason, I can't do accents, but I can pick up accents. I can hear them. And
Mm,
I knew that my accent morphed from, say, my sister and my friends in Montreal. It's very different.
that's interesting. Is
Yeah.
your first language is English?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you grew up in the west end of Montreal?
The South
Because
Shore.
like okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
grew up
so
on the
yeah,
South Shore, but I went to
uh-huh.
school on
I mean,
in downtown, and yeah.
we've been in this pandemic for over a year. Montreal feels like a fucking different planet right
It's
now.
true. It's true. It feels
Like
like my sister's still there, and it feels like she might as well be like in Europe, or in Asia. It feels like she's
yeah.
so far away,
How many
because
brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one younger sister.
One younger sister. I have one younger brother.
Yeah, I met him the last time I saw you. He
That's
came to the
right.
show with you.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that we've done over a year of this
Oh God.
thing, this thing that's just the whole world is experiencing the same thing for the first time in what feels like a long time.
Yeah, it feels like longer than a year, or
I just
longer than like
well
15
if
months or whatever.
But like, when was the last time that everyone in the world was experiencing the same ordeal?
This
I
is the
just
first time
like,
in my life. Yeah.
and what's crazy about it is that instead of bringing everybody together, it feels like it's made us more politicized and more tribal, because depending on where you get your information from, where you get your news from, where you get your media from, you might think, oh, coronavirus is a fucking hoax, or like, oh, wearing masks is like wearing two condoms or something. Like it's just a fucking band-aid on a like, or I just don't. I just wish that it was more of a bonding experience and less of a like
Divisive.
just
Yeah.
everything becomes politicized nowadays. You can't
Yeah.
just there's no, you always have to be on one side of an issue or another. There's no sort of middle ground anymore, which is
Yeah. No, I
unfortunate.
agree. I agree. And it seems like some people are always looking for a reason to argue, or a reason to fight, sort of thing. And because I have a friend from in Toronto that I haven't seen since I moved, and just casually I was like, oh, just because I know he has health issues and stuff like that, I was like, when are you, do you have an appointment for your vaccine? He's a little older than me, so he would have qualified before I did. And he's
Sure.
like, no, I'm not getting it. And I was like, okay. But the way he said it, he was
Unreal.
like waiting for me to challenge him. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm not challenging you. It's your right to not, it's none of my business. whether you
I
want it or
know, but
you know what I mean?
I mean, it's not, but at the same time, it is.
Yeah, because we want the herd immunity and all of this. Yeah,
I understand that, like, vaccine, like, look, it's a brand new vaccine. We have no idea what the long-term effects are
yeah,
of said vaccines, but I mean, just in terms of efficacy, you got to do it just to, like, get out of this fucking shitty position that the
yeah,
entire world is in right now. That's just
exactly. That's just the
sometimes
reality of it.
you gotta roll the dice in order to just get things back to some semblance of normality.
No, I
That's how
agree.
I feel about it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take the risk. I do a lot worse things to my body than just, you know,
Yeah, I grew up in
like,
the 80s.
I'm drinking literal poison right now. I don't care if a fucking vaccine, is gonna do weird things to me 20 years down the road. I'm not worried about that. If I get cancer at some point, it's going to be from the radioactive fucking device that sits inches
Yeah.
from my testicles most of the day. It's not going to be from a fucking vaccine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree with you. I agree with
do
you. So,
you do you have a vaccine date yet?
oh, I got it about 3 weeks ago, I think. I had it on the
Good on you.
29th. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got poked.
I got poked. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
because
stoked to get poked.
yeah, I was waiting,
I'm stoked to get
and the
poked.
thing is, I was seeing like other friends in Ontario getting it, and I was like, why are they getting it and I'm not qualified? But they're older than I am, so they were like at the 55 and over.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Ontario site, and I happened to fall into a 50 to 54 range that I could register because I lived in a hotspot. I live in a hotspot.
Really?
So yeah, so I was able to register with the government, but by the time I got my appointment, it had opened up for my age range already. So but I kept it. So I got I got Moderna.
Yeah, you got one of the good ones. That's good.
Yeah, I got Moderna. I didn't just my arm was sore and that was it. I didn't have any other effects, which I'm grateful for.
I haven't heard any horror stories really. Like, from what I heard, I mean, one person said they felt like shit, but I mean, my parents both got poked. They said it wasn't too bad.
What did
my
they
friend
get? They got Moderna or Pfizer?
They got it really early because they're both 60, so they got it pretty early, and they went and got the AstraZeneca, which is, not the best, but I don't want to commit libel here and say they got the wrong vaccine because, in today's society that could be, a big deal, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm supposed to get mine June 8th. Is basically the day that, like, worked out for us, and yeah, I'm stoked to get poked, man, honestly. I just
I had to go to Castleman to get mine because there were no appointments in Ontario, like in Ottawa, but that was fine. It's like 40 minutes away. I have a car.
Yeah, no,
so
you can get some good cheese while you're out there too. Go to St. Albert's and get some good cheddar, some nice sharp old cheddar. Yeah, get a poutine. Yeah, I feel like the sooner we all get poked, the better, because it's like they unveiled that new plan for reopening Ontario, and so much of it is incumbent upon
based exactly on
what percentage of Ontarians have had their first shot, right? So the sooner we all get it, like,
the sooner things and
it's like, I understand if you have your reservations about trying on a new vaccine, a new this thing that's barely been, tested, but, is approved by all these different health organizations. So,
and I also feel that, like, at this day, in this day and age, like, coming up with vaccines is not, I don't want to say old hat, but it's not something brand new. It's not like, say, 100 years ago where, they didn't have, like, research, like the decades of research and stuff behind it, that they can come up with something pretty quickly. And usually for things to go through like the government channels, that takes forever. Like you could have the vaccine ready and efficient, but what drags it out for years usually is all the approvals, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just sped it up because it was like,
yeah,
that's the only way we're going to get things back to normal, that things can open up and people can like leave their houses and you know, congregate
1000%.
Yeah,
because we don't realize that like here in Ottawa we've got it pretty good. Like we don't have that many cases because we just don't have that high of a population density.
Yes.
Whereas in downtown Toronto or like New York, for instance, I had vicariously spoken to someone from New York. And like we think of like, I don't know, I don't want to speak to your experience because I don't know what it is, but in my experience, I don't know anyone who's died from COVID. I don't know anyone I know a couple of people who have had it and had very mild symptoms, thank God. But from what I heard from these folks from New York, it's like, oh yeah, our family doctor died, our neighbor died, like our friend from a friend of a friend died. It's like, Jesus, you know what I mean? It's like in places where it's just a shitload of people in a very small area, like Manhattan, for instance, or like downtown Toronto. You know, it was a much more severe situation. And like I think it's unfortunate for us here for all of Ontario, that because the GTA was in such dire straits that we all had to go through this state of emergency lockdown, or you know, however, you know, Premier Dougie Ford had to massage it, saying it's not a lockdown, it's not a lockdown, it's a shutdown, it's different.
It's with the emergency breakers.
I'm gonna break into a bit here. I'm gonna do a bit because like I always thought that like the way Doug Ford has been during this pandemic, Chris Farley, rest his soul, would have had the perfect SNL character. Chris Farley comes back as a guest host, or as like a surprise.
Alec Baldwin did for Trump,
like Alec Baldwin did for Trump, or even like Jim Carrey did for Biden,
yes,
or Maya Rudolph for Kamala Harris. You got Chris Farley to come in because, you know, Ontario, our situation was like kind of like, it wasn't like world news, but like in North America, it was like, wow, Ontario is really shitty right now.
Yeah, like what's happening with you guys?
Exactly. And so you get Chris Farley to come out on Saturday Night Live and be like, I understand you need to be socially distant. It's a hard time for everyone, okay? I can't see my mother. I can't even see my kids on Easter. But
oh my God.
Don't go to the cottage on Thanksgiving. Don't go to the cottage for any reason. Hiking up his pants and shit, falls to a table. Anyway,
crying.
That's my concept for a Chris Farley, Doug Ford impression. I think this is the thing why I'm so sad that Chris Farley died so long ago, is that he could have played both Ford brothers.
Yes.
Because Rob Ford was an international celebrity.
Yes.
Rob Ford, if Farley had been around, Farley for sure would have played Rob Ford in either SNL or some kind of movie spinoff. There's something that Farley would have done Rob Ford, and it would have been amazing. Because people have already forgotten that Doug Ford has kind of, in a weird way, overshadowed Rob Ford. But Rob Ford, the crack smoking mayor, was a big deal.
It was huge.
It was a big deal like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was living in Toronto at the time. Yeah, it was huge.
The video of him being like, I could knock Mike Tyson out with one punch, high on crack.
The one where he's in the Jamaican restaurant trying to talk patois.
Oh, dude, like, like fucking international superstar. Like,
and it's true.
Of all the things to put Toronto on the map.
Oh yeah, because I remember I went to New York City, and I flew into Newark, and I was taking a shuttle into Manhattan, and I was talking with these people, and it's, of course, as soon as I opened my mouth, they knew I wasn't from New York City, and the lady's like, "Where are you from, sweetie?" And I said Toronto, and
sorry,
she's
can
like,
I rephrase that? Can you
yeah.
rephrase that? They're like, "Where you from?
Yeah,
Where you from, sweetie?
exactly.
No, you sound different."
That's exactly what she sounded like.
They're from
but I can't do
Jersey.
accents.
Okay, sorry.
It's true.
Fill in the blanks.
But that's exactly what she sounded like. And I was
Okay.
like, Toronto. And she's like, oh, what's with your man? She's like,
Yeah.
is it true that he smoked crack? I'm like, yeah, it's true. But yeah,
Was that ever
everybody knew about
confirmed?
it. Pardon me?
Was that ever confirmed? Like,
yeah, there was video evidence of him actually smoking it.
like
Because there was a guy who had it.
Pipe.
Yeah, there was a guy who was in like that, I guess, I don't know.
Afters. It was some sort of
there was a guy
party.
who had videotaped it and sort of like held it hostage, and he was on like the Fifth Estate and all of these things, and he was like,
he was just holding out for the highest bidder.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess he got his price, and he released it to. He either released it to CBC or to the Toronto Star, because I think it was the Toronto Star that had broken
Had
the
to
case.
Be the Toronto Star.
Yeah, I think he released it to the.
They would have won the bidding war for sure.
Yeah, and it's an actual video. It was like a short clip that the public saw, and yeah, he's actually with the pipe, and yeah, so there was.
Unreal.
And then he came out and and I watched this happen live. He had come out and said, yes, I did do that. And then he's like, oh, but I want to address something else. Like, so and so said I wanted to eat her pussy, but no, that's not true. I never said that, and I have enough to eat at home. And he walked away. And I remember I was at work.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was at work. A few of us were in like our lunchroom, and we were all like, what did he say? And then Katie Simpson, she's with I think she's with either CNN or CBC News, but at the time she was the City Hall reporter for CP24, and she literally did this. She's like, she was like, and this woman is unflappable.
That I forgot about. Dude, like, how? As if like he dropped the P word before Trump did. Like, that's.
And the thing is, there were like 1,000 different ways he could have addressed that. But no, he actually said, she said I wanted to eat her pussy. And I'd never say that. And I have enough to eat at home.
That's so it's so funny, but it's also from if you look at it in like a historical context, that's like the beginning of this whole new Republican alt-right, like this fresh, this like way of like conservative, like, and not necessarily conservative, but anti-liberal this way of thinking that leads to Trump and that leads to Doug Ford. Is like, hey, he just says whatever he feels like.
He just says what's on his mind.
His speech isn't doctored like those other politicians. He says he just says whatever's on his mind. I like that. I want that in a leader, which is like, for in a sense, like, is noble in a way, but in the wrong hands is clearly not good. Because it's one thing to be unencumbered by the responsibilities of having lobbyists and corporations that you owe favors to, and having to censor yourself in that way. You know, the way that American presidents always have to say Israel has a right to defend itself. But like, if you're just like a straight up idiot, moron, bigot, that does like that's when it becomes not okay.
Yeah,
If you're somebody like Bernie
dangerous.
Sanders, if you're somebody who's like Bernie Sanders, who's like, I cannot be bought, I'm going to stick up for the people, then that's noble. What these other guys are doing, I don't think is noble.
Yeah, they
I
don't
think
have a
it's literally
filter.
just I just want fame and power. That's what they want. Just fuck my reputation. I just want to be famous and powerful.
Oh my
Anyways.
God. Yeah, it's true.
Fuck the people. I'm not in this. That's like the number one thing about Trump. He's like, I'm not in it for the people. I just want to be famous and powerful. And everybody's like, fuck yeah. Like,
because at one point it seemed
idiot.
like he was trying to get, like, during the campaign, like when he won in 16, it seemed to me at least that he was trying everything to like get booted out, but everything he did, people were like, yeah, this is refreshing. And he's like, oh fuck. That's what it seemed like yeah, he didn't really want it, but he got it.
Yeah, I think what South Park did an episode that had that exact concept, because they had Mr. Garrison as a stand-in for Trump, and at a certain point, he's just like, I'm just saying whatever the fuck I want. He goes on stage, he's smoking a cigarette like Bill Hicks, and he's like, you know what the problem is with these fucking broads? Like fucking, oh, what's the matter, honey? Did I say something you didn't like? You liked when I was ripping on Mexicans a minute ago, but as soon as I mentioned abortion, you just seized up. You're like, it is definitely like it is definitely a case of a guy who just like realized like, oh shit, I'm in way over my head. I didn't realize that I never thought, I mean, he's one of the hardest people to like understand his thought process, because some people think he's this evil genius that is like this cold, calculating, you know, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing this for this calculated effect that he's attempting to get out of society or whatever. And then other people are like, he's an idiot. He just says whatever he says whatever he can come up with in the moment. He just wants to go golf with his other white collar buddies. And it's like, what is the answer? I don't know. Yeah. It's probably somewhere in the middle. Like, realistically, he's probably, I found
he was too flip about things. Like, remember this time last year when he was like, oh, just drink bleach, or something along those lines, telling people to drink bleach. No. Oh, it's a joke. No, you shouldn't be joking about shit like this. This is serious. You know?
But because that was late in his presidency, right?
Yeah, like, that was like
you think about it,
up
like,
to the election. Yeah.
You think of what Obama looked like in his first year as president versus his 8th year as president. It was a significant transformation. Oh
yeah, he was gray, totally gray.
You know, that job aged him 20 years because, I mean, Obama faced a more difficult presidency than anyone in the last 50 years. Yes. But Trump, after 3 years as president, was just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they can drink bleach or something. I don't care. Like, you know, whatever. I've got a tea time. Can we finish this press conference? Like, it's just, I think that's a job that, like, in order to want that job, you have to really be into yourself. And because I mean, I feel like a lot of the most qualified candidates for the presidency, people who would be good leaders, just don't want the job because they realize that they're going to have to sell their soul. They're going to have to compromise to the point of no return when they understand that, like, it's you literally have to sacrifice your reputation and your character in order to maintain this position, which is something that I think people who have noble, good intentions just don't have they just don't want to do it. They're just not, it's not worth it. It's not worth kissing that much ass to get to the top spot where you don't even really have that much power.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You have certain executive powers. You have certain executive powers, but what you are at the end of the day is essentially a spokesperson for the U.S. government. Yeah. That's the presidency, in my view.
Because I think it's Congress that has the most power. I think Congress is
exactly
more
like
than the
you
president.
can propose legislation. You can assuage certain factions and try to push certain legislation, but you can't force Congress or the Senate to vote a certain way. You just can't. You can
it's very
veto
different to ours. It's very different to our
you can
system,
veto legislation, but you can't force legislation.
Yeah.
You can make executive orders, but they
can vote them down.
It's not the same. It's like you can't make laws happen without the support of the representative government, the legislative branch, which is the fucked up thing because so many congressmen and senators are fucked up lunatics.
Yes.
Do you ever see that movie, The Campaign, with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell?
I think I have.
So
yeah,
it was
came
an
out
Adam
like 10
McKay
years
movie.
ago or something. Like was it about 10 years?
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago. Yeah. So Adam McKay, this was like his transition film from, you know, Anchorman and Step Brothers into, you know, The Big Short and Vice and Succession, right? That's his sort of evolution as a filmmaker. And The Campaign was sort of the middle ground of that state, where it's basically these two lunatics running for a seat in Congress or the Senate, I'm not sure. And it's just like it is what America. It is a very like it's a obviously satirical view, but like not that unrealistic a view of what American politics has become. A local popularity contest that ultimately can make or break your ability to become a single individual's ability to become a lawmaker in one of the most powerful nations in the world. And that's it's just I don't know. It's 2021 and everything sucks.
Oh yeah. No, it's been a year, you know.
What have you been doing to keep busy, you know?
I've been doing a lot of stuff like with my comedy, like doing this show. I've been producing an open mic like every other week. When I first did it, I did it monthly, but since January, I've been doing it like every 2 weeks. Virtual, yeah, on Zoom. Writing, doing like trying to perform as much as I can online, and like I joined a whole bunch of Facebook groups like outside of Ottawa, just to try my stuff out in like a different market, just to see if it works in like other spaces. So yeah, and I live alone, so it's been even harder. Just I'm alone like all the time, sort of thing. So I'm working, so I'm grateful for that. I've been working from home since the start. But yeah, I've been trying to, at least comedy wise, trying to keep as active and as engaged as possible, and try not to go crazy, but it's not working. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I definitely feel you on the living alone thing. I'm lucky that I live with roommates, because it's, you know, having, you know, in-person socialization has been a blessing. Because I
know my mental health has deteriorated because I talk to people
for a lot of people.
Like I keep in touch with people like text and Zoom, but it's not the same as being like in a room with someone. And it's been, you know,
100%. You know, like, you know, they say like parting is such sweet sorrow. Like when you are with someone and they leave, there's this empty feeling. But when you Zoom call with somebody, you know, the emptiness is always there from beginning to end. And it's like, you just feel more empty at the end of it. Is how I feel about it. It's like it's why long distance relationships don't work. You know what I mean? It's like now you're in a long distance relationship with all of your friends,
with everyone,
and family.
Exactly, with everybody. It's true.
It's unfortunate.
True. And I know it's because I know like I've had some like friends and family like when we had those brief moments of opening that were like critical of me for, you know, going to the shows or going places when they were open. And I was like, look, I'm alone like 99% of the time, you know, and if the place is open, I'm going. You know what I mean? If I
Yeah,
can get to be
1000%.
with
And
people,
especially,
yeah.
and like they don't understand. Sorry, I mean, like I don't want to be too critical, but like the people who aren't in stand up don't understand how therapeutic it is, and how addictive it is once you get into it, and it's like
You have to do it.
just
Yeah.
you got to do it
Yeah.
because like you're like, especially for someone in your position who's newer and is just like starting to blossom as a performer, is like to just have that be cut off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like it's the worst.
It is. It's terrible.
I can't imagine how that must feel, because it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you're figuring shit out. You need like early on, you need those reps. You need to get on stage as much as you can. And it's like,
Exactly.
for anyone to criticize you for wanting to get back on stage, it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, with all due respect, fuck right off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I did. I was just like, well, I'm not breaking any laws. It's not like, oh, we've got this
Yeah.
covert, you know, secret in-person stand-up thing happening. No, it's like when things were open and the clubs were open, I went. You know,
Yeah,
if I got
I mean,
stage time when they were open, I was there. You know, and I went to see stuff, I went to perform, and it was just because I love it so much and I love being around it. I love all the people in it and everything, that I went. And I know I was
yeah,
sort of like taken aback when I got a couple of those comments, and I was like, well,
yeah,
that's easy for you to say when you have people at home,
yeah,
you know, where you're
yeah,
not alone. You're not alone.
yeah. I mean,
you know.
if you're part of a community and now you're allowed to rejoin the community,
Yeah, why
what's wrong
wouldn't
with
you
that?
do it? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you're
It's
able,
just,
why wouldn't you, you know? Or if you want to,
yeah,
why wouldn't you? Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, because I
yeah,
also know
and
people who were like, who haven't, because they
mhm.
have some, you know, either themselves or they have somebody in their life who is vulnerable,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
don't
for
want to
sure,
take that risk of. And I respect that totally, and I
absolutely.
get that it's probably very difficult for them because they want to re-engage, but they don't, because it's not, they, to them it's not safe, you know.
Totally.
But you know, nothing, there's been no outbreak in the comedy community, you know what I
Not that I
mean?
know of.
Not that
No.
I
Yeah.
know of, you know.
Yeah. I can think of one comic who got it. Like Jesse had it. Jesse Reynolds had it.
Yes, and I know of one
Yeah.
other comic who had it, but got it while we were in lockdown. So as far as I know, they haven't seen
Yeah.
anybody,
Well,
you know.
honestly, it's. I think. See, there's nothing like for people who are just like willing to just like put it on the line. Like I don't see a problem with like doing what you can get away with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why you see so many people out at the parks on a nice day, on a
Yes.
nice sunny
Yes.
day. Like there's like a million people outdoors in the
Yeah.
parks, you know, because it's allowed and they're getting away with it. You know what I mean? So
And
it's
it's
like
all they can do. Really.
it's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
All you can
You
do is
know?
go to the fucking LCBO, get yourself a variety pack of hazy IPAs, go to the park, go to Farm Boy, get some chips and dips, and have yourself a picnic in the park.
Yeah, like I haven't even been
Maybe
going to the stores. Like I was getting like groceries delivered like before pre-pandemic most of the time, so I still do that. And I used
yeah.
what's it called, dial a bottle, where someone goes to the
Dial a
LCBO
bottle.
for me. Yeah, it's dial a bottle.
Your fucking flashbacks to Queen's University. Jesus Christ, dial a bottle. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
And they go, they get it, and they bring it to your house.
You just become an entrepreneur and just come up with an app for that. You like literally have to fucking call a hotline to be like, hey, can you drop off a 2-6 or a fucking
they haven't. Well, it's a website that I just access on my phone. And
so is it an app or is it a website?
It's a website. It's not an app. It's a website.
Oh, you should make it an app. Yeah. There you go. I just made you $1 bajillion. You start
but it works
the app
really
and,
well. It works
I'll take
really
a 10%
well. It should be
finder's fee.
It
take a 10%
really well.
finder's fee. I can retire as a young man.
And I've used that a bunch of times, because unless I'm out for something, and it's usually like if I know I have to go out somewhere, like if I have to go pick up a prescription, then I'll be like, okay, I'll go to LCBO, I'll go here, I'll go there, and make a trip. But if I
Right.
don't have to go out, I'm not going out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, there are people out there, that's their job. Their job is shopping,
I mean,
you know.
my job is working in a warehouse. So like that's how I was able to get fast tracked for the vaccine, is that I was like that I can't work from home in a
Right.
sense.
Exactly.
So yeah, like, and so in that sense, it's like, well, I'm out in the world anyway. I don't feel it's not that I feel like it's not like I feel like impervious, or that like it's not going to affect that I'm not going to be affected if I go out. It's just, I don't know. If I need something, I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay an extra $20 to have somebody deliver groceries to me. I'm just
Mhm.
not doing it.
Yeah, because for me, say with the groceries at least, just the way the parking at my condo is, it's like it's too much. I'm not make I don't like to make more than one trip, and you know, upstairs and stuff like that, so it's easier that way. But
Hmm.
then when they were like, "Oh, the police can stop you and ask," I was like, "No, nobody's stopping my black ass in the car." So I go out as little as I can because I'm afraid. I know they said they're
Yeah.
not going to do it, but I don't. They said that they do it. They've been doing it. You
Have they
know.
been doing it?
No, no. I mean, historically, they've been. You know, police stop.
Oh,
You know, people of
historically,
color.
yes.
Yeah, historically,
Yeah.
in
I
general, people of color are just stopped for any reason. And I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
get tased. I don't want to get shot. So it's like if I don't have to
Right.
go, you know, if I don't
Right.
have
I
to
forgot
go.
I won the genetic lottery in that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. In that,
Yeah.
in that context, yeah, maybe I would, yeah, I wouldn't be out in my car as
Mhm.
much.
Yeah. So it's like I'm not giving anyone a reason to pull me over, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
and that's just it sucks, but
At,
that's
at
the
the at
reality,
the
you
end
know.
of the day, they don't have the resources to pull over anybody who's driving during a, province-wide lockdown.
Right.
What they have been doing, and I know this because I live right at the border of Ontario and Quebec, in downtown Ottawa, and I see every day the police, they come and they set up their little checkpoints as the cars coming in from Quebec come into Ontario. They're only there 2 hours a day.
Okay.
They're there, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then they're gone. That's
Hmm.
all they do. That's all. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm pulling back the curtain a little too much. Maybe they come to my house and they shut me up. I don't know, but like,
Yeah,
it's
because
not.
that's the thing. Like I have a friend who lives in Gatineau, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's no big deal. I drive back and forth." Because I'm like, "Do you guys still have curfew?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's till 9:30." But he's like, "I've
It's
had a cop behind me and they didn't stop me." I'm like,
that's what I'm
"Genetic
saying. Is
lottery."
like, it's like, it's just for them, think of it from a police officer's point of view, is like, do you have the want to, are you that dedicated to your job that you're going to write up everybody you see driving around or walking around after curfew or walking around during a state of emergency shutdown?
Hmm.
Are you willing to do all the paperwork required to
Yeah.
fill out all those police reports of, oh, I found this person, and then 5 minutes later it's like, oh, I found this person? That's a lot of work. And you
Yeah.
know what, you can look at whatever your opinion on police officers or other people in law enforcement is, they are people just like us who are just doing a job, and some of them are better at it than others. Some people are more dedicated than others, but at
Hmm.
the end of the day, most of them just want to go home to their families or their
Yeah.
dogs or their cats or their fucking sex dolls or their fucking vibrators, whatever it is they have waiting for them at home.
Yeah.
They just want to go home.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they just want to go home.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
And they probably feel they have better things to do than stop people who
exactly. I
aren't
mean, you
breaking
got
the
to
law. It's one
remember.
thing if you blow a red light or you're speeding or something,
Yeah,
that's one thing, but to pull
yeah,
someone over and be like, "Why are you out?"
yeah. You got to remember, like, these are first responders, right?
Hmm.
Is it worth them stopping somebody for driving at 9:30 at night? what if they get a call that like somebody, 20 blocks down is ODing and they need to like get on that or something. I mean, that's probably not as much a police issue as it is a paramedics or firefighters issue, but anyways, it's exactly what you're saying. Is it like, is there better things they could be doing? Absolutely. Exactly. But at the same, but at the same time, I understand people who have the instinct of like, we need to all do our part in order for the cases to go down. But this is just the way viruses work. Like in these situations, it's like, you can't just keep everybody locked in their house forever. Because the minute you open things back up, cases are going to go up.
It's just a fact. And that's just normal.
Until you
get
everybody vaccinated,
Yeah. And even if we hit that, whatever the threshold is, 70 to 80%, 70 to 80% of people in this province are vaccinated. Let's open things up. Things are still going to spike. It's going to spike and then it's going to level off. I
agree.
There will be a spike as soon as people are able to like mingle again. It's gonna spike.
I think
that.
I agree, but it's just, this has gone on for so long now, and once what is interesting to me is what are going to be the case rates among people who have their vaccine card, like people who have had their first shot, people who have had both shots. What are the numbers going to look like of those people if they test positive? That'll be interesting down the road to see, like, are these vaccines really 90% effective? Are they really 70% effective? Whatever the efficacy rate is. That's what I'm interested to see.
Is it something we have to get done every year? Is it 2 shots every year? 1 shot a year? Every 2 years? Yeah, like stuff like that. We still don't know.
And then there's the whole what the fuck of, coronavirus could be just the tip of the iceberg, and then like, what's the next global pandemic that's gonna engulf us all? I feel like
maybe it happens in like increments of 100 years. Maybe
or maybe it's
now it's an annual
Mother
thing.
Nature, like a dog flicking itself with its hind leg, trying to get us off of it. How do we get rid of this virus? We're the virus when you think about it. We're, as Joe Rogan said in one of his specials, we are mold on the sandwich. We are the problem. And it's like these viruses and these like antibiotic resistant bacteria and viruses that are out there right now. It's because of us. We're the reason that these things are evolving. They're trying to get rid of us. So maybe we just need to treat our planet better.
Because the thing is, coronavirus is a variant of SARS.
Isn't that weird?
18 years ago.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's me because I was in Toronto when SARS happened.
Oh
but
my God.
There was no shutdown. I remember, there was no shutdown as in we didn't have to wear masks. We didn't have to quarantine and stuff like that. People didn't come to Toronto. And I remember it was like through the summer and like tourism and things like that tanked.
I remember when SARS was a thing. It wasn't nearly as big a thing as Corona because it was it was very localized. I feel like SARS was.
Yes. It was localized to pretty much the GTA.
Yeah.
And like other pockets.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a pandemic.
Yeah. You had like swine flu was a thing.
Yeah.
In like
Ebola.
2009.
Like, Ebola like a few years ago.
Ebola was like, that's like white people were like, Ebola, does that affect us? No, we don't care. You know what I mean? So it was like,
and it hit this. I think it was in Texas. There were a few cases in Texas.
Yeah, it's like,
but it was very specific areas. Yeah,
all the liberals in the Northeast were like, Texas, they're all animals anyway. Like, let them wipe themselves out. So yeah, no, Corona's been different. It's the whole, everybody in the world is feeling the same effects of it.
Yeah. Like, I don't know anybody I don't know anyone no one close to me or like in my sphere has died of it, but I know of people who have lost people to
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, that's what I was
it.
saying earlier, is
Yeah,
like, I haven't experienced it firsthand.
yeah,
I mean, I know a few people have had it, a few friends have had it,
yeah,
mild symptoms. Some of them gotten pretty sick,
yeah.
but uh no deaths that of anybody I know
Mhm.
or in proximity to. Uh but you know, you talk to other people, their experiences are vastly
Yeah, very
different.
different. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
But
it's fucking shitty time,
I
man. But you
know.
know what? At the same time, it is the best. Is the best of times to be stuck in your house, because with all the streaming services you have,
Yes,
and you know what? The entertainment industry hasn't stopped. Like,
it's
people
true. They've
like,
just pivoted to different medium.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, all this, like, stand-up specials have like a year of turnaround almost, like, not a year, but like 6 months of turnaround. So like a lot of like comedians who shot their specials right before the pandemic struck, they're coming out during the pandemic, and it's like, oh great, new Tom Segura special, you know, a new Nate
Yeah, and then
Bargatze
they're
or
getting
whoever.
so many more eyeballs on it because everybody's
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
there's far more eyes,
yeah.
far more
Like, I
people
talked about it in my
watching.
act, which what brought everyone together at the start of the pandemic was Tiger King. Like,
Yes.
all of this, like, I wonder if coronavirus never happens, would Tiger King have been as big a thing
I
as it
wonder.
was,
I don't think so.
as it
I don't
ultimately
think it would
was?
have.
Which, I don't know, man. Tiger King is like real life Shakespeare. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if you can. It's like Tiger King. Maybe it's just how great, like how well they edited this collage of information and footage. But it was a brilliant series. I know, I stand by that. Like, I don't think it was just Corona fatigue or whatever.
No, I think if it
Tiger
you know
King was really
it would have
brilliant.
done well. I think it would have done
Mhm.
well regardless, but I think like the way it exploded because everybody was talking about Tiger King.
Because it was at the top of the Netflix
Hmm.
homepage. It was like the first
Yeah.
preview that shows up when you open Netflix,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, I fuck with
And even
this.
people who didn't watch Tiger King know about Tiger King.
No,
You know what
yeah,
I
like
mean?
my
Yeah.
parents watched it because me and my brother were just like Tiger King. Like,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, it's it's been a weird year. Been
It
a
has
weird year and
been.
a half. Almost a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Like, March 2020
Hmm.
was when we all,
Yeah,
like,
we all went indoors. Yeah. We
it was
all locked
crazy
it.
because it was all, I'm trying to like reminisce on it, like, and not fondly, but like, it was like early March. We were all just like sort of like, we were all just sort of anticipating something big. We were all like, oh, you hear about, like, just pandemic is
Hmm.
going, it's all over Europe now.
Yeah,
It's
this
all
thing.
over,
Yeah.
oh, it's in the United States now, like, blah, blah, blah. But like, it never really, we didn't realize it was gonna completely shut everything down
Yeah. I
until
had
it was,
no
you know what it
idea.
was? It was the NBA. When the NBA
Oh
said,
yes. When
when the
their
NBA
players
said we are indefinitely suspending play, that's
and
when
it's
you were
like,
like,
what?
oh shit.
Yeah.
We were like, oh shit, this
Because
is
like a
real.
whole
And then the
slew of
NHL,
players got sick. Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, Rudy Gobert was patient zero for the NBA.
Wow.
He was the guy who was like joking about it, like putting his hands on all the microphones at the press conference, like trying to like ease the tension. I get it, but in retrospect, you know,
It's not the
hindsight
best
is
thing to
2020. He looked like a fucking jackass.
It's true.
He
Because
was the
how many
first,
people did he infect? I wonder.
like, half his team.
Yeah.
No, not half. I don't think it was half his team, but the other star player on the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, got it soon after, and they had like there was tension between them after that, but they smoothed it over, and then you know, they both, they're, you know, they're both good now, except Donovan Mitchell is out with an actual injury now. That's the only difference. But yeah, when the NBA shut down, and then the NHL
Yeah.
immediately after was like, yeah, we can't play either. Fuck.
Yeah.
because you know, I added a little Canadian mustard on that. Like, oh yeah, we can't play either. Fuck.
Because I had tickets to go to a game. I think it was the end of, I think it was like March 30th or April 1st or something. Like towards the end, it was
Sens
like
game?
would have been the last regular season game.
Sens
It
game?
yeah, it would have been Sens and Pittsburgh because I like
Oh,
Pittsburgh, and that was
you
canceled.
like Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, but I like
Yeah.
Pittsburgh too. I've been a Pittsburgh fan for a while, but
Okay.
yeah. So I was like, because Ticketmaster didn't refund initially because it's like, oh, it's being postponed, it's being postponed, it's being postponed, and then they finally said, okay, we're going to refund you. I think it was like October, sort of thing, like only like not that long ago, because
That's
they
legit.
were saying,
Like,
yeah,
that's unfortunate. That like this, it's a lot like when, you know, all the spots you had before the pandemic, and it's like, oh, you just like,
they're gone.
you know, if you had a week, say like you had a weekend in April of 2020, you had it's like your first, like, have you done like a full weekend at a club yet?
I've done Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's a full weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
At Yucks?
No, at Absolute in Kingston. I've done that a few times, yeah.
But like, imagine you had like a weekend booked for like April 2020, and then that happens, and you're like, shit. Well, yeah. And then you call Howie or whoever, and you're like, so like, when can I get that weekend? Oh, there's a lot of people, and there's just a lot of people that I have to do a lot of favors for. You know, I'd love to get you in. We just, you know, you just have to wait and see. We're all going through a tough time right now, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of the beast,
exactly,
you know.
Exactly.
It's yeah.
Because I had some cool things lined up, and they're gone. And
yeah, I
yeah.
Fortunately, I've been able to like just keep doing some cool shit. I've been like, you know, because with the film industry, it's not the same as comedy. Like, you don't have you know, you don't have a room full of strangers every night. It's the same people. You can test them, and like, so like the film industry is still moving right along. So I've been auditioning for stuff, and then been doing voiceover work, and that's fun. That's always fun to do. And, you know, so like, I've been keeping busy with that. I do miss stand-up though.
Yeah.
Especially because like with my schedule, like even if things were opened right now, my only availability is Saturday and Sunday night. Like that's it, you know, which is
how we happened to see each other. Was this, I think it was like probably the last show before this current shutdown was like a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. I remember it was Sunday.
Hey. Yeah. And we hadn't seen each other since, I think, before Christmas.
Yeah. Because it was open. It was, things were pretty open from July till mid-October. I want to say. No, because there was a lockdown in October, and then things opened up again. Then things opened up again before Christmas, and then right before Christmas, it's like, we're shutting it down. Yeah.
And then I think from Boxing Day,
it's literally been from Boxing Day till March. Yeah. It was shut down. Fuck.
And we were open for just a few weeks, and then this current one that we're in took over.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't look like the clubs are going to open till, I don't know, I'm thinking July,
probably like July, August, because it's what they're looking at is 3-week increments, right? So June 14th approximately is when they think that they're going to open up outdoor patios 4 people. 3 weeks later, it'll be 6 people on patios. And then 3 weeks after that, it'll be indoor dining and stuff like that, and entertainment. So July, probably late July, most likely.
Yeah, anyway, that's what I'm thinking.
Which was around the time last year that the clubs opened up. I think was late July.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Late July. Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember I went to Kingston. I wasn't performing, but a couple friends were performing the opening weekend in Kingston, and I went to see it.
You like that Kingston club?
Yeah, I like it because they book me. They book me there. I can't get booked at Absolute
That's
here.
yeah. That's basically where we're at. Is like if they book me, I like it.
Yeah.
I love it.
They're
They're the
always
best
nice
club.
to
They're the
me.
best.
They're always really nice to me.
They're
And
always really no. I think
yeah.
they have a great staff there,
Yeah.
and I've always had fun on the shows there.
Mm.
And I mean, last time I played there was summer 2019. I got to stay at the condo, which is like this nice little house like around the
I didn't
block.
get to stay at the condo. I had to pay. That was my own on my own dime.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like I would just drive. Fuck it. Hour and 45, fucking nice drive.
I'm also old, so I can't do that.
That's well, I mean, what you work too, so you can afford a fucking hotel in Kingston if you want. It's not the Ritz.
No, and I stayed at the hotel that's right next to it because I'm like, it's close. I don't have to drive anywhere. I could have a few drinks after if I want.
Exactly.
Just go back to the hotel, and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Because I had my little bubble of friends would come over either before or after. We'd eat, we'd have some drinks, we have fun, and then, I go home the next day.
Have you explored downtown Kingston before?
I think the last time I was in Kingston, I stayed downtown. I did a show in December, and I stayed downtown, so I saw a little bit of it.
I love Kingston. So like my grandparents, like, so my dad's family's from there, and then my mom's sister and her family are also from there. So I've been experiencing Kingston my whole life. Like we travel there a lot for holidays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always fascinated with Kingston. He's I did a weekend there with K. Trevor Wilson, who was on Letterkenny and all this stuff. And he pointed out, like, and I hope I'm not like stepping on a bit if this is still a bit he does, but he pointed out that Kingston is like this. It's this town that's like all these different towns. It's a historical town. It's a university town. It's a military town.
It's a prison town.
It's a prison town. Yeah. But at the end, and it's also just a town. There's townies there. Like there's so many different aspects to Kingston, and it's like, to me, it's like a second home. I love Kingston.
Yeah,
but anyway,
have a good time when I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I love the Absolute. And honestly, I love the Absolute there. Like the staff are super cool, and I find that the crowds are. It's the only time. One thing I'll say about the Kingston club is it's the only time I've ever had somebody come up to me and after a show and be like, you can't make that joke.
Really?
You know what I mean? It's the only time somebody's been like offended by a joke.
Like a patron? An audience member?
Yeah, someone in the audience. Like I used to do this bit where I did a Jesus impression, which, I still do from time to time, but it's basically like me pantomiming getting nailed to the cross and screaming and shit. And this dude came up to me after the show. He was this like tall, gaunt fellow with like, I think he had long hair, but he was like, looked like a real pack-a-day guy. And he was like, hey man, I liked your stuff, but you can't hang Christ out you can't say that about Christ. You can't hang Christ out to dry like that. And I said, I'm pretty sure I just did that. Exactly. It's the only time it's the only time anyone's ever come up to me with like a complaint. Like, not like, I mean, when people don't like your act, they just won't interact with you. They'll
exactly.
Just, like, avoid them. They'll just like give you like a curt
after,
nod.
Yeah. They're not going to say anything to you.
For me, I like to stand by the door as this crowd is shuffling out. I like to stand by the door and just be like, I'm right here. What's up? And a lot of times I just get like people avoiding eye contact. People avoiding eye contact with me. And if they accidentally make eye contact with me, they'll give me like a curt nod or something.
Or like a thank you, and they leave. Yeah.
Some people say, hey, great show. Some people, I've had some people who are like uncomfortably friendly, You know what it's like to be a comic and like you have a really good set and then there's somebody who just like really wants to hang out with you. It's like with me, it's usually young men who are just like obsessed with like the idea of like me. Like, it's so weird.
I had
he's like, man, like, let me buy you a drink, man. I love you.
I've had that. Can I get a picture taken with you? And
yeah,
I had two guys want their picture with me.
Yeah,
I was like,
that.
Okay, all right.
Are they white? Are they white guys?
Yeah.
Like, because they're probably just like, see, I have a black friend. See,
I know one.
they're really pushing to have that. They just need that, like
the visual, the proof.
Yeah.
I saw one.
They just need that propaganda photo of like, see, I'm not a racist. I enjoyed her performance.
Yeah, she was funny.
I related to her somehow. No, yeah.
But I always have fun when I go there.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, like, when do you not have fun doing comedy?
Exactly.
Don't answer that. Because like, there's definitely shows that are not fun, but that's part of the maturation process. Yeah. That's part of the maturation process is that you have to go through shitty gigs in order to appreciate the good gigs.
Good ones, yeah.
Same way that you need shitty relationships to teach you what you need in a proper relationship. You know,
a healthy one, exactly.
Yeah, you need to like experience the entire spectrum of like, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to do really well on a show. This is what it feels like to bomb. Bombing is super important.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I had bombed more in my career, is like I would be a stronger comic at this point. Because I had
a horrible bomb last Monday.
On your Zoom show?
Yeah, on a Zoom. I was on a Zoom show and
everybody bombs on Zoom because you fucking can't even hear what you're performing to the air. It's stupid. I hate Zoom shows. No offense.
Usually I can hear people laugh. Everybody laugh, but this like nothing, zero.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was awful. I was just like, oh. And the only people who were laughing were the guy who booked me and the other guy who's seen me before and like has seen me do well. And they're like, ha, 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 ha. I guess all I can hear.
Yeah, super awkward.
It was really awkward.
Yeah.
It was really awkward.
Yeah.
That was my first like epic Zoom bomb. You know, like it was the worst.
my only Zoom show was a guy who booked me for him and his wife's birthday party, and it was like it started out well enough, but then as I got more into my act, I could sort of feel people like dropping off and looking at their phones, and it's like, all right, what am I doing here? I'm just gonna end it on this. Okay, here's my David Attenborough impression. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Zoom shows, because it's different. Like when you're live, if you're on stage and you see somebody pull their phone out, like you see it, and if you want, you can address it. You know, you could be like, hey, you know, sorry to bother you, sort of thing. But you can't tell on a Zoom show. You know, if people have their if they have their, you know, their mics off and their cameras off.
Oh no, who knows what they're doing? Don't look at yourself. You got to look at the full like the
gallery view,
multiplayer cam, and you got to see who's paying attention, who's not.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
You gotta be you gotta call people out on Zoom too. Fuck. It's it's unfortunate
to do on Zoom because
it's unfortunate that it's come to this. It really is. But
I think it's better than nothing. But
no, I would rather do nothing.
Really? Yeah.
I would rather,
for me doing nothing, I was like circling the drain last year. Like,
I would rather really just post stupid shit on my Instagram. Like rather post stupid Instagram stories and Snapchats and just have it out there in the ether rather than feel the visceral reaction of people not liking my stuff. Cause that to me is worse. Like I'm talking to air and I'm getting nothing and somehow it's less than nothing because the people on the other end of the air are not enjoying this either. They don't want to be here either. That's the thing. And that's the hard part. It's like
I think it made me a stronger comic Because I think when things opened up last year, I felt like I hit the ground running, and I think it helped me a lot.
Yeah, I know you did. You were phenomenal in the times that I saw you when I was working at
Thank
the
you.
club. And yeah, no, like, you know, from the first time I saw you on stage, you were great. And it was just like, oh, she's already really strong. You know, you need to just like now you just like now you just gotta like try new shit, you know? You know, this is strong, that's strong, that's strong. Let's try this, let's try this.
Yeah.
Because what I think with what I've sort of learned firsthand is that you do whatever amount of time you think you can do, subtract 5
Okay.
or 10. You know, if you think you can do 20 minutes, that means you can do 10, because you're gonna have to like there's gonna be times where, you know, your 10 is not gonna work for this crowd, so you gotta change your 10. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Yes.
you gotta like, and if you think you're ready to headline, it's like, yeah, I can do 40. No, unless you have a solid hour, unless you have a solid hour of proven material, you are not ready to headline. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So whatever your whatever you think your whatever you think your time is, subtract 10.
That makes
That's your
sense.
time. Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I know one of the first online shows I did last year, they wanted me to do 30 minutes. And I was like, I said I could do 15 maybe. And literally what I did was every single joke I'd ever written.
That's the
Because I
thing.
didn't have
Yeah.
like a curated, okay, this is pull, 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 here's 10 minutes, pull, 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 pull,
Yeah.
here's 15 minutes. I did every single
Yeah.
joke I knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
If
not
you
what you're
have
supposed to do.
yeah, if you have 20 minutes of not necessarily like if you have 20 minutes of proven material that you've tried on stage, you have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
because
what
not
it
everything's
is.
gonna work. Exactly.
Not everything is
Like I
gonna work.
have the way I file my jokes and everything, so I have it listed of, okay, these I've tried them on stage. Here's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of untested stuff that I've never
Yeah.
done. Then I have
Exactly.
stuff that I've tried on stage, and even within that, it was like, okay, this didn't go over that well. This was
Yeah.
really good. You know,
Yeah.
this didn't
So
work.
much.
This needs work. Yeah, it's always, and what I've been doing is going back to older stuff and updating, because I find as I
Yeah.
get a little more experience, like I'd have a premise, but say I had a premise last year, I didn't have the experience or the skill to make something out of it, but
Yeah.
maybe this year I can do
Yeah.
something with it, and
Yeah.
then maybe next year I could do something with a premise that I don't have the skill to work out. So
That's a very mature and methodical point of view, and I respect it, because you know I'm still adding I'm still adding tags to, you know, bits that I have been performing for 5 years. You know what I mean? You always have to be looking for, how can I make this routine better? How can I punch up this little? Because there's always going to be lulls when you're trying to set up a joke.
Right. Exactly.
How can you just like you're always trying to increase your laughs per minute, and you just like, you know, and sometimes, you know, with the right audience, you can just take them for a ride, and like you can just like very methodically and calmly walk your way through a setup, and when that punchline drops, it's just perfect. But if you do that calm methodical setup and the punchline doesn't land, you just wasted 2 minutes. Good for you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But I just like having this conversation gives me so much FOMO, because like, you know, the United States are opening up, their comedy clubs are all opening, and it's like we're gonna be doing it again soon. It's gonna be soon. It's not that long. The time as you get older,
jealous seeing it though. I'm
jealous seeing it.
I'm
but
jealous.
As you get older, time keeps marching on faster and faster.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know.
You know what? Before you know it, the summer will be over, and everything will be open, and we'll be able to do stand-up comedy in front of people. And you know what? We'll be having these conversations in person, and we will be experiencing what we are talking about in live time again.
Yes. And I hope that when that happens, that we appreciate doing stuff live and being in person more.
I don't think anyone will.
We might for like the first day, and then whatever. Because it even happened with the bit we were open last year. It was like, oh yeah, we're open. It's fine. Yeah.
People are so fucking complacent. It's like you forget that you were just we as a society were at death's door a month ago. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But honestly, if things are good, I'm good, And you know what? I'm great, Simone. I'm fucking doing great. I think I am in the best situation of anyone in the pandemic. I'm really happy.
This is our outro.
It's been great. It's been great. It's been great seeing you for the first time since that Sunday in March, where we did that amazing show for 5 people, including my brother.
But see, like, I always have fun. I have fun. I just enjoy the whole thing. Like, whether they're 5 people or 50 people, I love it. I love it.
It's just you're either wired that way or you're not.
Or you're not. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I'm glad I'm wired that way, because I had fun. It was good to see you, and I think Luke's was on that show too. And it was good to see. It was just good to see people and perform.
I could not agree more. It's the best. It's the best.
It is. It truly is. But so thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Really
Anytime.
Appreciate it. This was fun. This was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Anytime you want to come back, please let me know. We'll work something out. Is there anything you want to promote for people listening? Or
I have absolutely nothing to promote.
Find you somewhere?
You can just look at my YouTube channel if you want to see some impressions. That's all I got, really.
Okay. And your channel
my Instagram is DrSteveLove.
Okay.
And that's also my Twitter and my YouTube. And even though I never use Twitter anymore, I am literally like so checked out of doing all the social media stuff and all that. But my YouTube channel is out there. There's all kinds of impressions on it. That's like, that's just it. Like, that's where you can go and find that.
Okay.
If you like Game of Thrones impressions or The Wire impressions or whatever, there's that. And I'm gonna try to beef up my online presence a little more, just because like it's something that I do and I take pride, or I used to do a lot, and I used to take a lot of pride in, and then lately I've been slacking for like the last 3 years because I've been more focused on stand-up. And now there's this whole nonsense, and also I'm working nights. So it's just, during the day, I just don't feel like doing anything before work. So it's like, you know what I mean? But
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's all I got. But
I'll include your socials in the show notes and everything.
Sure.
So
awesome.
So people can check out your stuff. So thank you again. It was so wonderful to see you. And I can't wait to see you in person and give you a big
same. 100%. 1000%.
1000%.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Simone.
Okay. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.